careful of the collisions. I don't want to hear complaints about it. Work around it. Let's play this game.
I need another heavy. I've got TB and a quick draw.
I want to get fairly tight to it. Now, anybody who's going to be working range, I'm going to need you to fade right on this. And when anybody's running short, is going to stay towards the top of the caldera if we're going to come at them.
I have you in the Griff. Griffin.
Sounds good.
Well, that's the thing. We got to get to brawling range, so I may be moving us, right up to the hoop if we have to.
Wolverine nach Charlie 4.
It's fine, chill out, man. It's fine. It's just a fire starter.
Ich glaube, Leute reden miteinander.
15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't die. 15 seconds, don't die.
Guys. 3, 2, 1.
Charlie Dar, CT, yellow. Okay, go to Charlie, see if we can get it.
There. To your left, is there? So, jetzt guys, hinter die Indie-Pockets,
Mediums be prepared to pull back E40 towards the E5 border.
On my mark. Left side, come on! Like now, I need strikes on OP barrel. Wire our strikes up.
Die Hauptgruppe rechts, Uferlinie.
They have 3 mechs sitting on the left side when you pass over. Overheating is bad. Both legs on the Griffin. Hit the Griffin.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. That was such a
That's right. I'm gonna spawn Lance, you guys in Charlie, Lance, you guys in Bravo. That's B2C1.
This third drop is 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults.
Jetzt in die Breite ziehen, zieht euch in die Breite.
Lights, watch our backs. We're gonna about base and take up position in Bravo 6.
Ja, kurz Aufschaltung Delta 4, 3 Stück, 2 Mediums einleiten, wie ich es richtig gesehen habe.
Make a firing line. C4 Tactical Hill, boys. Fox. Laufen unter ECM, haben 2 durchlaufen, 10 Bravo 4. And get ready to hit people coming from our right.
Charlie on the left. Charlie, a Hellbringer on the left.
Okay, let's group up towards the left. We're gonna press through Bravo 3 to Bravo 4. I think they're kind of spread out.
Check yourselves. Make sure you've got, UAV cool shot.
Here they come. They're pushing hard, guys.
Decro. Tez on.
Go.
Oh, got a contact here, Bravo 3.
Nice, Marshall. I'm on Delta Griffin.
We'll get cross it then. Get in their face. They got a highlighter. They just pushed up on Theta. We need help on Theta. Up on Theta.
Yep, that's the noise. Go. Let's finish this.
Full pressure, guys. Full pressure. They're down low. They're down low in Charlie 3.
Get the f***ing arm, Jackson!
Jackson, cool shot.
Go.
I got him.
Go, P3, go.
Echo, go. Get over their mediums, guys. Get Echo Stormcrow.
God, I suck as a pilot, but thank I packed my skill. I'm sorry that you died, sweet girls, but we will send a reasonably nice letter to your family.
Sound resumed.
Okay, and we're live. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Mech Warrior Online. We will be covering tonight's match, MarineMechs versus the Night Scorn. This is a Week 3 drop, Season 7 of MRBC. This is Poopinshire from Antari Scorpions. I'm joined by Avatar of What and Paradox42 from Antari Scorpions. And we have a special guest from BMMU, Azrin. They'll be joining us for our mid-game information and are actually in between drops. So, Avatar, if you would do the honors, would you please introduce our teams to our guests?
Okay, so tonight should have a good match between two seasoned teams. We have, first of all, MarineMechs They got dropped from Division A last season, but they're still looking strong. Recently, they were part of a super team with Eisen and Antari Scorpions for the Invitational. Managed to get to the finals, but lost in the first round. Some very capable pilots from that team. I know Bandit knows a lot about tactics and DCing just from, casting so much. Everyone knows that he casts a lot, and, when you're analyzing, when you're forced to analyze every single game like that, it really brings up your awareness as a drop commander. So I'm expecting good things from them. On the other side, we have Night Scorn. Night Scorn came in first last season for Division C and managed to move themselves up. They were looking very strong then. We scrimmed them a couple times, I think, and it's always good. I come across them in the queue, and immediately I start thinking like it's time to take this at least a little bit seriously. You can't ignore them, otherwise they'll make you regret it, and then you'll end up with like a 12-0, and you're on the 0 end, and you're just wondering what happened. So and they've been definitely dominating this season. They beat SIG 4-1. They beat QQ 5-0. Now beating QQ 5-0, I think they're a little bit of a weak team right now. They probably shouldn't have been put in Division B. So it's not all that surprising, but they did manage to beat SIG 4-1. So they're looking very strong. MarineMechs, on the other hand, is kind of in the middle of the pack of the season so far. They're not doing too bad, but they're also not in the top two. 42 Smoke Jays and Night Scorn are kind of competing for that. So if MarineMechs can kind of close the distance here, this can not only be really bad for Night Scorn, as that will allow Smoke Jays to just pull ahead of them, but it could also be potentially really good for MarineMechs, because if they can also perform well against 42, as some of the other teams perform well against 42, they may be able to still pull out first this season. It's not out of the question by far. So we'll just have to kind of see. I'm expecting an exciting match, a close match.
Can you give us a little bit of information about what the drops are tonight that we're going to see? We have the quick reference guide up for our viewers so they can see what Avatar is talking about.
Yeah, so, with MRBC, you have 5 drops. You have to play all the drops. For accomplishing certain things, like a victory, you get a certain amount of C-bills, which is equivalent to points. Kills are C-bills, so even if you get an 8-4 result, it's not as bad as if they just completely wiped out your team, or if the enemy wins on caps, but you manage to destroy most of their mechs, you still get some points out of it. So if you kill all 8 of their mechs, that's 200,000 points. A win is 300,000 points without any bonus objectives, I believe. So that's only 100,000 difference if you manage to kill them all. Now, for the first drop, it's the lightest. It's going to take place on Crimson Strait this time. No strikes allowed for the first 3 drops. And for the first one, you're going to have 4 lights and 4 mediums. Generally, this type of drop comes to a brawl because there's not a whole lot of ways that you can kite such a light deck around. It's been done before. Sometimes it works if, like, the enemy holds up in a particular corner and you screw up the push. Not all the mechs get in at the same time, or there's a lot of ground to cover and they really split up, or maybe on top of the wall in HPG, but it's unlikely. We'll probably see a brawl. Mining Collective for the second drop, that gets a little bit heavier. 2 lights, 4 mediums, 2 heavies. Once again, no strikes allowed. I wouldn't be surprised to see brawls in this drop because it is still a fairly fast drop, but here we can start seeing some more Overwatch heavies. And in this drop, actually, I forgot to mention it. First drop, you can't use streaks because it's such a light drop. You can't use streak missiles. The second drop, you can, and there's still 2 lights and 4 mediums. So we might see some streaks on that drop. The third drop, Forest Colony, is a kind of commander assassination. You have a Victor, which is your commander mech, 4 heavies, 3 mediums. If you assassinate the Victor, you get an extra 50,000 bonus. And the first two drops are played in skirmish. The last 3, they're played in conquest. So this is going to kind of stop some of that stagnation that we saw last season of teams just kind of, not really wanting to go at it. And once again, no strikes allowed for that drop. The fourth drop is a traditional 2-2-2-2. Finally, you can use air and artillery strike, and that's going to take place on Polar Highlands. I expect to see a lot of ER large lasers on that drop. Very unlikely to see any sort of brawling decks, maybe like a Mauler. And finally, drop 5, Tourmaline Desert. It's the heaviest drop with 4 salts, 2 heavies, 2 lights, and you can also use air and artillery strike.
Thank you, Avatar. And next, some people's new favorite portion of the stream, we're going to have Paradox and Azrin kind of take you through the map and show you what we're expecting the teams to do. Gentlemen, if you want to take us through and show us what you're expecting.
Yeah, let's have a quick look at the map. First of all, I want to introduce Ezrin to you again. As we mentioned, he's a player of BMMU, and on top of that, we got a little bit of an expert for this division of the NA MRBC League here in our stream. As I'm a European player and I don't know too much about the North American teams, I thought it would be smart to have somebody who knows his way around. He plays with 42 Smoke Chase, and I think, Ezrin, you have played MarineMechs just last week, haven't you?
Yes, we just played them last week.
So, can you tell us a little bit about them? What do you expect from them? Are they more of a brawly team? Do they prefer more range decks? What do you expect from them?
So the matches that we had with them were a lot of mid-range and mixed decks. Towards the end, though, since we were doing brawling so much, they adapted to our tactics very quickly and went brawling right along with us. So I fully expect them to basically adapt to whatever Night Scorn does very quickly. They're very good at doing that.
All right. If we have a quick look at our map, Crimson Strait is kind of a huge map, especially for very brawly decks. In which areas would you expect the teams to set up? We have MarineMechs in Team 1 and Night Scorn in Team 2. What do you expect? Where will they position themselves? Where will they go? Where do they want to force a fight?
So Team 1 starts in what, Foxtrot 2?
I think so, yes.
Okay, so if that's the case, they are probably, if they're brawling, they're going to either be setting up tunnel or setting up on the saddle and kind of making sure that they have Overwatch right there so they can pour into wherever the enemy goes. If they're more ranged, they might choose to go to Delta 2 instead. So it really depends on what they decide to bring as their first drop. I can't really say because they might have changed their tactics up since they played us and we also scrimmed with them. So it really depends on what deck they bring. Now, on the other hand, Team 2 over at C7, almost always the best play is to get into the Bravo 4 line and set up Overwatch there. But if they're a really brawly team, they could definitely push saddle, and we could see a very quick, very bloody engagement on the D4, D5 saddle.
All right. What kind of mechs prefer these two teams? What do you expect from them? Do they have pilots which have a certain preference for certain chassis?
I expect to see a lot of Jenner Oxides. They've been extremely popular through all of the rounds. I think they brought a fairly brawly deck with them on the first drop, so we could expect to see Hunchbacks, Griffins, even some Shadowhawks that are all brawly if it chooses to go that route.
All right. I guess Night Scorn is a team that is especially interesting for you tonight, as far as I know you're going to play them next week, isn't that right?
Yeah, not this week. Yeah, I think we're playing them next week. So yeah, it would definitely be interesting to see the game.
Did you do some scouting on them already? Do you have an idea what to expect from them?
My roster leader has been doing the scouting on them. So he usually comes up with the plans. So I have yet to watch them, but I'll be doing that this weekend.
All right. So, so far it looks like we should expect a brawl, as usually in Drop 1. It might happen in the saddle area, maybe in the area of the tunnel. I have teams setting up lately on the island as well, waiting for the enemy to make a move, and then engage them, maybe in the open water somewhere. But I've seen a team as well to use the Bravo 2 spawn and try to set up a fight in the Alpha 2 Bravo 2 area. What is your guess? Let's make a prediction. What's your prediction? Where is this fight going to happen?
You know what? I'm gonna say Saddle. It's probably unlikely, but I got a special place in my heart for Saddle.
All right. I feel with you. I go with Saddle as well. What about you, Avatar and Pupinchaya? What do you think? Where are we going to see a fight?
Saddle. I was definitely thinking we would see a fight in the saddle, but
Okay.
it was funny, as you guys were circling the map, and here, I think there are the most likely spots we're going to see. Mostly there in Charlie 3, in there, and the saddle, I think.
All right.
As for me,
Good.
I'm expecting something a little different this time. Knowing the Night Scorn is a little bit better range, I'm actually saying maybe Delta 6 or even Alpha 6. They may set up there and wait for the MarineMechs to kind of get bored and impatient and kind of push in. It wouldn't be the first time that the Night Scorn has brought large lasers to bear on an opponent. And those are Delta 6 and Alpha 6 are two very good locations to set up a nice firing line. Now, remember, MarineMechs are an aggressive team. They are a brawling team. You set up with a little bit of range, you can get good visuals on the teams coming around. I think you might see them attacking from that direction or setting up firing lines to accept an attack.
I mean, it's possible, but MarineMechs could also always just decide not to engage, right? And that could be potentially detrimental for them.
So
Most
I would
definitely.
say we have 3-1 for Saddle. Puppenshire is going with the odd option out, a more mid to long range deck. I'm curious what we are going to see. We are still waiting for the teams to get us invited. Puppenshire.
Yep, no invites are yet.
Right?
In fact, they haven't formed a lobby yet. Oh, there we go. Lobby invites are out. We should be getting ready shortly.
All right.
Okay, one thing about the kind of long-range strategy that you're mentioning, Puppenshire. I think, yes, Alpha 6, definitely, because you can kind of just, work that Alpha 6, Alpha 7, Bravo 7, depending on where they're coming from. But I don't think so much, low Delta 6 there as, more, around here. Because when you have mechs up on this hill, the main advantage is it's hard to get your mechs up there and firing on them, right? Simultaneously, though, I don't find it that strong, because, if they just run close to the mountainside, it's hard for you to fire back with your mountain mechs. So they can focus whatever, unless you're sending mechs here and here and here, if you're keeping them close to here, they can potentially hug the mountainside, fight your mechs, and the ones on top have to drop down or stay out of the fight. It's not a good situation either way for a ranged mech to be in.
Now, what are the chances
possible,
of... We've seen before several teams when they do set up in Delta 2, you can actually set up a firing line in Delta 4 and pretty much trap a team on the island. I mean, we've seen that as well. I mean, it happens. That's one of the dangers of spawning out there in Delta 2, Delta 1, and kind of sticking to it until you know what's going on, is you can get trapped out there if there's a firing line Delta 4. And lobby invites. Avatar, did you get your lobby invite?
Yes.
Awesome.
MarineMechs are the first team getting set up. We expect Night Scorn to come in shortly. Gentlemen, anything else? Predictions? Anything for this drop one that you're thinking about?
I can't think about much, to be honest. I'm just expecting a nice brawl and hope for good action.
Excellent.
I expect Bandit to have lots of colorful commentary.
It'd be real curious to hear what's going on in their team speak at the time of the drops. I wonder if you'd even be able to hear anything.
That would be my prediction. Colorful commentary from Bandit.
You know,
Alright.
he's gotten to shoutcast matches I've played in many times, but I've never gotten to shoutcast a match he played in.
Turnabout's fair
So,
play.
yep.
I'm really curious what our spectators think, what their prediction is for this drop, where the fight is going to happen. Please post it in the chat and let us know.
Okay, MarineMechs are
Oh.
almost fully in the lobby. We still don't have the Night Scorn in the lobby yet. They're still not there yet. We're just getting set up still.
They might come in all at once.
That's what I'm thinking. They may have formed a group and they may do an all at once lobby invite to get the group in as a full 8-man.
So Ezrin, let's use the time a little bit. For how long are you playing for 42 Smoke Jays already, as you're with BMMU at the same time?
So we've been playing with them for just the season of MRBC. BMMU had a Division A EU team.
Yes.
But unfortunately, a lot of our players kind of left at the same time, just due to real life circumstances and whatnot, so we couldn't field an entire team. And there was a good small contingent of us that were NA players who still wanted a chance to do some competitive drops. So we got in contact with 42, and they were really glad to have a couple of us join them. So we've been working with them, practicing with them 2 nights a week. And just basically rolling with them for this season of MRBC.
Okay, cool.
Well, I can give
how
you guys a
long are
little bit of a
playing
heads
MechWarrior
up.
yourself? Oh yes, please.
Sorry, MarineMechs is setting up. Looks like all their mechs are setting up in Alpha and Charlie lances. How's that change of predictions? Nobody is in Bravo lance, so they are not going to be. They're going to be island and the far right side of the map. Nobody's in Bravo lance.
They might charge the B4 line. Or no, okay, no, then they're definitely charging there. They're gonna go.
Yeah, they're going to be in Fox 2, Delta 2 to start.
Sounds like
Yeah,
saddle to me.
so if
Saddle.
Alpha and Charlie, that's like a straight saddle push,
Yeah.
as far as I can read it. It's just supporting our theory. Now the question is NS gonna set up Alpha Charlie as well? If they do, in response, we know the fight's probably gonna take place in saddle. If they choose instead Bravo Charlie, perhaps it'll take place in saddle, but more likely it's gonna take place in Bravo 4 or Charlie 3. Perhaps in the tunnel. I don't like going down there though, so I don't advocate it.
MarineMechs have readied up all but one player, so
position.
they're not going to move. It looks like, and the Night Scorn are coming in now. They're going to have a chance here to change around their drop locations based off that. As it stands right now, looks like the Night Scorn are in Alpha and Bravo lances. They have not adjusted yet. We are waiting on 2 people, it looks like, right now from the Night Scorn.
So right now, Night Scorn is sitting pretty with 3,175,000 C-bills. That's actually 75,000 more than 42 Smoke Jays have. So they're sitting at the top right now. MarineMechs currently 4th place, only sitting with 2,050,000 C-bills. So that's quite a difference to make up. Basically, if they can 5-0 them here, they'll be put ahead. But otherwise, they'll still have to do very well in the next couple matches.
So the Night Scorn are finally in the lobby. They are in Alpha and Bravo lances, and they have not changed yet. They have not moved in response to the MarineMechs already being in their lances.
All right. Alpha and Bravo are Bravo 7, Charlie 7, right?
Yes, I believe so.
So Alpha Bravo doesn't really make sense because it's splitting both your lances. So I'm assuming they're gonna switch it up here in a second.
If they go Alpha Charlie as well, it's pretty clear that this is going to be a saddle push from both sides.
Okay, they just adjusted. They are Bravo Charlie. They have completely moved all their mechs out of Alpha Lance.
Alright. That means they spawn here and here. Avatar, what do you expect? Where will they go?
Bravo Charlie. Yeah, like I said, I think they're just gonna go into the city, take it easy, go to Bravo 4. I mean, they might go all the way to Bravo 2. I don't see a real good reason for it. Maybe the engagement will happen in Charlie 3. I think they just don't like the saddle. They want a better environment to fight in. Possibly like the elevation differences. I don't know. They probably just don't like having to fight there.
So they might go for Charlie 3 maybe?
It could be that like Alpha 6, Alpha 7 long range, like just sit back and poke strategy, but I still kind of doubt it.
Okay, and we are all green. We are just waiting for the drop.
All right.
They all board green. Confirm, ready on both sides.
Let's get ready for the first match. I'm having a look at the chat right now. Seems like a lot of the most people who said something about what they expect is a saddle push, and Flying Gecko says a brawl at Charlie 3 Delta 4. Let's see where we go.
Okay, so I'm seeing here for NS's side, 2 Jenner Oxides, a Griffin 3M, Hunchback 2C, Jenner 2C, Firestarter A, Blackjack 1X, and Stormcrow. Definitely brawling from their side.
And MarineMechs, we got a Griffin 3M, a Stormcrow A, a Hunchback 2C, Shadowhawk 2D2, Firestarter A, 2 Jenner Oxides, and a Jenner 2C. I got a feeling that's probably SRM 6s. What do you think?
Yeah, most likely.
Oh, yeah.
3 Ultra 5 Hunchback from Murph Daddy.
And it looks like MarineMechs are heading to the saddle. And there's a light mech to just get out of place. They've been spotted.
Looks like NS is just kind of playing around Bravo 3 for now.
There's a UAV up. NS has a UAV. They can see everything the MarineMechs are doing right now. MarineMechs have taken the top. They have secured it fully. Looks like we had a little long-range fire being traded there. UAV is down.
So it's 4 SRM 4, 2 SRM 2 Jenner 2C from MarineMechs side.
Stormcrow and the Shadowhawk have dropped. They are in the tunnel. Philadelphia Collins and the Griffin 3M is out by the tunnel entrance. Let's see if he gets caught from the side. Yep, there we go. We've got shots fired.
Not really looking to hard engage at this point.
Gas Guzzler and then Hunchback 2C has got Gauss. You just heard that shot fire. Looks like he's trying to take pot shots at the guys up on top.
It seems like MarineMechs just has 4 lights on top, not really doing anything, and then there's some trading going on in tunnel. NS is already repositioning their entire force towards there.
Iron Nightbird and this
And it looks
Firestarter
like
A
the
is
lights
off
might
by
be
his
late
own.
to a brawl here. The brawl's happening here in the city. The light mechs are still out of the fight. This might really go in NS's favor.
The lights still haven't gotten into the fight yet. And one down, Stormcrow is dead.
2 of them are still out of the fight.
Shadowhawk 2D2 from
Which I
MarineMechs is
think they're
down.
playing around with that Firestarter.
So far, we have 2-0 in favor of the Night Scorn. 3-0 at Jenner 2C.
2 dead now for Night Scorn. 4 dead for MarineMechs. 3 for Night Scorn. Jenner Oxide's doing some work.
5-4 in favor of Night Scorn.
MarineMechs actually catching up. Chucktacular opening up the center torso on that other Oxide. Both his legs are kind of open.
And he's rather
Really,
healthy
who
in
can
that Jenner
focus fire
Oxide.
here?
Well, with those kind of drop decks, you knew it had to be some kind of a brawl going on.
Chucktacular killing himself. Not smart overriding there.
So now it's Bandit
Really could have
versus
taken
Iron
it.
Nightbird and Downright Fierce.
He's too hurt. Bandit can't take this. He's going to go down. There he goes.
Yep.
So a nice catching up from MarineMechs, but terrible engagement, first of all. Their lights are just kind of sitting up on top. Not really having any eyes on the enemy, not really knowing what the enemy is doing, not in a position to support their mediums.
And look at the damage. Wow. Downright Fierce, 416 damage, 3 kills, 2 assists. That is definitely
Here's the thing that really hurts, though. Like, you have these Oxides, right? Like Bandit doing like 406 damage. What if he was in the fight from the very beginning when Niltab and Iltragos are in there, right? So I think that was just lost on that, but impressive job catching up on the kills.
Most definitely. Okay, our next map is Mining Collective.
Right, so this is the kind of still very light drop, but it's got a few heavies, right? 2 heavies, 4 mediums, 2 lights. Probably still see a brawl, but it's quite possible we'll see, because it's Mining Collective, a bunch of jump jets, mid-range guys spread out all over the place. Since it is skirmish, neither team has to force the engagement, but we'll just have to see. I think it is important to bring a fair amount of jump jets no matter what you're doing here. Because if you're brawling and they have guys up top, then you need to be able to counter that. And if you're mid-range, you don't want to have all your guys down on the bottom level of wherever. You want to have them spread out, kind of hard to get to. It's still a very fast drop deck. It still has 2 lights in it, so
well, then let's bring up the map and let's see what we can see.
So, Paradox, what are you thinking for this one?
Map is live.
That's a good question, actually. If it wasn't skirmish, I think it would be more easy to predict. Usually in matches on Mining Collective, you see a fight happening around the theta area in the middle, but right now in a skirmish drop in MRBC, the teams can actually choose where they want to fight. We have a very scattered map, a lot of buildings. Basically anything can happen. So I'm not sure what to expect. I expect more brawly decks. I wouldn't go with a too long range deck on this map. I don't think that is going to work out. The drops are still kinda light. I expect very, very fast drop decks from both teams to be able to reposition themselves fast enough, get into the position that is favorable to them. And due to that, in my opinion, the fight is going to happen somewhere in the middle area, because both teams will try to head into the middle somewhere, get a position maybe on top of a couple of buildings to drop down on the enemy. Ezrin, what do you think?
I definitely think it's going to be more brawly focused as well, just because it's really hard to do better than a pair of Oxides at this point. They've proven themselves over and over again to be the dominant light mech. So as long as you have two lights, it's going to be the Oxides. But I also do think that MarineMechs have a chance to bring maybe some more mid-range engagement mediums with jump jets that can get angles. While their lights and faster heavies, mediums engage with brawl. So I foresee definitely some poking around, depending on where they drop, either the C3, C4 line or the D3, D4 line.
I mean, if we look at the spawns on both sides, the Alpha and Bravo spawn points are a bit closer to each other, but there's of course the option to bring. I have to clean this up a bit. To Oi, it looks funny. To spawn in these 2 points to get more into the Charlie line. I mean, if we look at the buildings, this is usually a good spot to bring mechs up high. Where would you position yourself, Ezrin?
If I were brawling, I would charge right up to Theta and start looking for mechs to kill. But again, if I were more of a mid-range, I'd definitely take that C3 to poke with lasers, or even the top of D3, the building right here, just to poke for lasers, just because those are such great places to poke.
So you kind of mentioned Jenner Oxides earlier. Would that be a hindrance, bringing Oxides, since they don't have jump jets, if you're looking to get high up on the buildings?
It's not really proven to be a hindrance in any of the matches that we've seen, just because the brawly mechs are more just focused on getting to the main glut as quickly as possible. So if it were a more mid-ranged or long-range deck, you could definitely see them bringing maybe other lights that have jump jets.
I mean, I'm thinking
But,
pre-quirk, it was Arctic Cheetahs and it was Firestarter A's. I mean, we know for a fact that
yeah,
that would be the more common for this because they have jump jets. The other Arctic Cheetahs have ECM. They can get up on buildings. They can get behind mechs rather quickly. It's just we know the Oxide's a bit more powerful right now because of the quirks. But prior to that, there were some very fine mechs that were used on this map for this type of drop, and they just happen to have jump jets, and that's people were more up to getting on top of buildings than they were prior to that.
I think you definitely need to consider the jump jets even in your lights here. Oxides are definitely powerful, but if you have, the most important mechs, their heavies, and maybe like a couple of their mediums just like up high somewhere, maybe some of them you just can't reach, the others are hard to reach. So you just kind of start fighting, the other mechs that are kind of out in the open with everyone else. And meanwhile, those Overwatch mechs are just focusing your guys down with impunity because they have they're not being pressured. So I mean, just having that jump jet light be able to get on top of that Overwatch mech sitting in the Fairy Cakes in Charlie 3, or maybe on top of some buildings in Delta 3 or Delta 4, it can make a difference if you're trying to make brawl work.
Do you kind of want to show them on the map the
what
fairy
what
cakes?
the
'Cause I'm not
Oxide's
sure.
about
I'm not
anyway.
sure everyone knows what we call the fairy cakes. So if you kind of draw that where it's at.
Oh, it's just like there's these like cylinders basically all over like Charlie 2, Charlie 3 next to the parking garage. They're in 3 layers. We call those the fairy cakes. Yeah, right there. Nice highlight.
Kind of
So,
like
I mean,
it's kind of like
sometimes
one
you
of those
see
things on a
people like
map.
the guys there.
What we call it isn't what everybody else calls it. The famous thing is the 228's Pickle Factory back on the old Force Colony. Not everybody called it that.
Yeah, if I look at the map and consider if I would be MarineMechs, I would probably spawn in Alpha and Bravo, Echo 1, Delta 1.
Well, I can tell you right now,
And-
MarineMechs are set up 1 mech in Alpha, 3 in Bravo, 4 in Charlie. And Night Scorn it has one player not in yet, but they're right now set up in Bravo and Charlie Lances.
Bravo and Charlie for Night Scorn.
And all 3 drop zones for the MarineMechs.
And MarineMechs,
But MarineMechs are stacked more towards the top side of the map.
they have. Can you repeat again?
MarineMechs have
They
1
have
mech in
4
Alpha,
guys.
3 in Bravo, 4 in Charlie.
All right.
So they're more stacked away from the side you were thinking they were going to spawn. But they do have a light starting out in Alpha and Echo 1. I guess he's just going to kind of scout out that right side of the map. But, this side I think is a strong side for them to do something a bit more range and maybe take those fairy cakes. Maybe even like if the enemy's sitting way back, maybe even get a guy up into the Charlie 3 up top there. Maybe get some pokes.
If
it's
they
possible.
go for more ranged, I would expect them to set up here. And in the fairy cake area, which you mentioned before. Or where would you go, Avatar?
No, that's where I was thinking, and then they they kind of spread out, not have all their guys in one spot easily, push maybe a couple brawlers to like slow roll the enemy if they're gonna push into them. I mean that's a possibility, or maybe just like shorter range tankier mediums.
If you look at the Bravo and Charlie spawns of Night Scorn, what do you guys think? What are they going to do?
So Bravo and Charlie for them is also up top. I think they're just kind of. I'm thinking that they might be brawl and they might like just be hoping to get up to that ramp and then just catch onto them. But if they're range, it wouldn't be too bad for them to kind of set up some guys on top of Charlie 4. Some guys can be in the back towards Charlie 5 if they have a little bit more range, and then just kind of have a semicircle going around. Honestly, I'm thinking brawl here, though, for the most part, with a couple Overwatch mechs.
Okay, we're still waiting on 1 player to get into lobby, but right now the MarineMechs are all green and the Night Scorn are the waiting on 1 player still. And here we go. Last player is in. He is getting green now.
If Night Scorn is more brawly, we should expect them to swing around this line to get into the backs of the fairy cones. Did you call them?
And we're dropping.
There we go.
All right, so from Night Scorn's side, we're seeing a Jenner Oxide, a Jenner 2C, Hunchback 2C, Stormcrow D, Timberwolf, Blackjack, another Hunchback 2C, and a Grasshopper. So I'm thinking, they have the Grasshopper and the Timberwolf as a kind of Overwatch. Okay, large pulse on the Enforcer for MarineMechs. Seeing Gauss Rifle, 2 ER PPC for Downright Fierce on Night Scorn. So we're probably looking at a range battle here. Conrad's Stormcrow is a 4 medium Gauss Rifle one. Dual Gauss. SRMs on the Jenner 2C. And it's going to be a kind of a poking battle. They set up, MarineMechs has set up in the fairy cakes, kind of like we predicted. And they're just kind of trying to peek. They seem a little too clustered together, though. Reverend Jackson just dropped down into the parking garage. Probably a mistake.
But the MarineMechs have moved up there. Looks like they're supporting them. They're keeping up with them.
It looks like MarineMechs weren't content with their position. They do have a bit more range on the side of NS. So MarineMechs is going to either have to call it a draw or find a way to get closer in. Or wait until the last second and then try to punish them for getting closer in. But they're just kind of hiding, considering their options right now. They have a light scouting from Fairy Cake still. They have a light in Theta.
And it looks like the Night Scorn light may have picked him up on seismic because he moved to adjust to see where he was going.
But the Night Scorn main group is just content to hold that position there. On top of the buildings. And like I said, jump jets, if there's, those oxides might not be too useful.
Looks like the MarineMechs are starting to move. They're trying to get better position. Night Scorn still is not moving in response. They are holding steady to where they're at. In terms of trades, it looks like Night Scorn's doing a little bit better than the trade right now.
MarineMechs do have the Streak Crow, though. If they can manage to pick off one of these enemy lights, they can force them to move in on them, and then it should be MarineMechs' victory, but...
MarineMechs are moving back away.
I just don't see Tommy being able to do much work in that oxide.
No, especially with him being, as it is now, he's out of position as it is. He's out of the way. He'd basically have to catch one of the Night Scorn out of position, and I don't believe they're going to move at all. There's no reason for him to move at this point.
And the Grasshopper is actually a 6 ER large Grasshopper for NS, so they're really heavily stacked on the range, really hoping to capitalize on this all-on-top strategy.
And here come the MarineMechs. Looks like they're trying to outflank, come up behind Night Scorn. Let's see if the Night Scorn picks up where they're moving. Looks like Lokeland ZFG may have picked them up. He's starting to move in response in that Jenner 2C. Let's see what he does.
I still think this can be the right play for MarineMechs.
And the Night Scorn are coming down.
NS starting to move up a little bit. If MarineMechs can just start moving in kind of hardcore right now, they might be able to catch him while moving.
I don't think they've seen him.
Capitalize on the fact they have better range.
I don't think the Night Scorn have seen him. If they get caught up, there we go. Shots are fired.
Now. All right, MarineMechs really need to be aggressive here.
Did they do that too soon?
Are down off their perch.
Did the Night Scorn get too early of a warning there? Should Bandit and his team have held off firing just a couple more seconds to get closer?
I think it's fine, but they've taken a pretty bad angle here. There are UAV for NS, I believe, but MarineMechs isn't really crashing into them so much as kind of going around them. And I think that's because their lights were with the main group and they weren't really scouting. They didn't really know exactly where NS were. They just kind of assumed they were in their old positions.
And that Jenner 2C is at 50%. He is open right torso and rear torso. Chucktacular and the Firestarter A's at 79%. And Tommy the K goes down in the Jenner Oxide.
Oh, as I say that.
And right now, Poneface and the Grasshopper 5H is down.
But another one goes down for MarineMechs and form a Bandit in his quick draw. Lachlan and his Jenner 2C is looking really bad. CT cord missing half a side.
And he is down.
Toaster goes down. It's just quite a brawl right now. I mean, NS does have those mechs just kind of sitting up there, kind of unperturbed. That seems to be pulling it in their favor, I think.
It looks like it. We got Chucktacular at 62%, Murph Daddy at 76%, Neltab at 64%. In terms of Night Scorn, they're almost all above 60%, except for Philadelphia Kansas down to 59 right now, 54.
And this is really nice from the Night Scorn. As soon as something started happening, they climbed up as high as they could with their jump jets.
And they're holding that position.
The firing line. and then they just
And
sent,
Murph Daddy goes
just
down.
sent their lights or whatever for the enemy to chase. And that's it. Good job to them. Let's take a look at these damage scores here.
Most definitely. Gas Guzzler with 2 kills, 5 assists, 469 damage in that Hunchback 2C. Really doing some work
Definitely
for Night
carrying
Scorn.
for his team.
Yep.
Downright Fierce still managing to get 2 kills as well. On the side of MarineMechs, Murph Daddy doing the most work in his Stormcrow D with those streaks. He was able to bring one of the lights down, I believe, Lachlan, or at least damage him enough that someone else did. But in the end, was it really that effective? I don't know, because that's 455 damage spread throughout the whole mech. Otherwise, you have some kind of low damage scores from mechs that were up until the very end, like their BJs on the side of MarineMechs. So it really just, I think that's partly the fault because of how their push worked, and they didn't have their lights kind of scouting ahead or off to the side scouting, so they didn't know exactly where the NS main body was. So when they pushed, they kind of pushed around them and gave them a chance to recover instead of pushing into them and where their momentum was going and then just crushing them right there. Even if they're all mid-range, NS was definitely extreme long range. They just won that through better positioning when the engagement did happen, better reaction times rather, and moving around as a team.
Okay, well, let's talk about the next map, Forest Colony. This is drop 3. This is the Commander Assassination. 0 lights, 3 mediums, 4 heavies, 1 assault.
So it is Forest Colony. A lot can happen in Forest Colony, I feel like. I do feel because there's no lights, it's more likely you're going to see a lot of mid-range than a lot of brawl. If you can catch someone in the forested area of the map, that's great. It is Conquest, so you can kind of use the caps to force that. But if you can't make that happen and you have to kind of push onto into a team that's kind of holding more towards water, they're taking the... Hold on, let me pull up the map here. Trying to pull up the map.
Yeah, the map's not loading as usual, which is fun to do.
Okay, well, just looking at Smurfies, there's Kappa and Gamma by water side in J11 and I7, respectively. And it's possible to just kind of hold those two caps with a range deck and possibly just send guys in to take Epsilon. Epsilon's going to be the key here, right? Which team is going to be able to hold Epsilon? If it is Brawl versus range, the Brawl team's probably going to hold Theta Sigma, and then it's going to come off over a fight over Epsilon, and then whoever has it for the longest amount of time can kind of force the engagement on their turn, whether that's them kiting out into water or fighting in the inland. It's possible we'll just see 2 Brawl teams go at it, in which case, like, more power to them. The
There we go,
cap
map
game
is
won't
up.
really be an issue in that case. If it's 2 range teams, it could get very interesting here as these teams vie over different caps to win the Conquest game.
All right, you can see the map here. We have
So just to
Forest
point
Colony.
out what I was talking about. Yeah, I see the map now. Just to point out, so this is what I'm thinking. Like, you kind of control that with a range deck from water. You kind of control that with a brawl deck from inland. To make the brawl deck work, I think you might have to take like a Ice Ferret, Cicada, whatever, just to be quicker and force that engagement, right? Because you're taking caps faster than the enemy. You're reacting better to the caps. But I don't know which team is a better capping team here. Asfrin, do you have any insight into this?
So, who has Team 1 is on the left side, right?
Yes.
Okay. So will have Team 1. They're probably not going to go for caps then. If that's the case, it's really hard to try and get Kappa without being caught out by a rush from water. So I think they might try and go inland and take control of inland. On the other side, it's very easy for Night Scorn to take a position in the water, and especially with their range, it looks like they've brought some really good range decks in that last drop. So I think I predict that they will try and take range out of the water and kind of control from there. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. I don't know if I agree with Team 1 not really being able to contest water. I think you can get to Kappa, and if you have range, like not be immediately hit with a brawl push over the ship. There is, unlike where the spawns are showing there, Smurfies is wrong, I believe. So like you're spawning more like K11, K12 line, in like Fox 12, and then H12 on the red side there. So I mean, take that for what you will. What do you think here, Paradox? Paradox?
Yeah, I'm just checking Smurfy, and Smurfy actually says Team 2 is on the left-hand side. That would mean NS is on the left-hand side and MarineMechs on the right-hand side. I'm not sure if Smurfy is right
Oh,
here.
it does. Wait, is this? Yeah, I think I'm sorry. It's Team 2 on the left side. So
Team 2 is
it
on
is
the
NS
left
on the
side.
left side. But
NS is on the left side, so if they are usually the team that prefers a more ranged game, I would expect them to set up here in the area of the tower and get some overwatch on top of that position with ER large probably, so they can contest the water from there. They get control over Kappa, they can get control over Sigma, and they would need to get to cap theta, considering that MarineMechs would have to push through the arc or get around behind Golf 10, Fox 10 to get to theta. That might actually be possible for them to control this area. On the other hand, if MarineMechs, they are probably spawning down here, Kilo 11, Lima 11, and I think one spawn was over here and one is actually here inland, something like that. The question is...
I think it's more like here, but...
Oh, perfect. Yeah, perfect. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get control over theta, epsilon, and gamma. That could work for them. The other option as well would try to get control over epsilon, gamma, and kappa. And I think that means we will have a fight somewhere around this area. Now it's really messed up what we saw here, isn't it?
You know, I do agree with the last one there. I think trying to control this for a range team is probably easier. I don't think, even if the other team is controlling theta, like you're not going to go for it because it's kind of like too far away. Like
it's too far away.
Here's where you're trying to work, right? Here's where theta is. That's how much distance you have to cover. Like it's just not going to work. It's much easier to go over here, and then you can kind of kite towards gamma if you need, and then have your rest of your team kind of meet up Juliet 10, and then you all like kind of kite towards there or whatever. And
I kind of like that, and you can even drop back if you're getting pushed by a brawl deck, for example. You can easily drop back into here the Lima area, setting up a firing line, walking backwards, and shooting the enemy while they are approaching.
And in such a wide space, you can spout like all over the place. You can have a mech there, you can have a mech there. When they were both like right there, right? And
you can really spread out.
Brawl push into here. They all follow you here. They kill this mech. And then this mech kills the rest of their team.
That's exactly like that. So, in my opinion, as we said earlier already, the right side, the MarineMech side, is for me the preferred side if I want to play a more ranged deck. I've tried a more ranged approach on the left-hand side or on the Night Scorn side as well, and I was not really comfortable with it. I think you can make it work, but especially against teams who know how to use cover, who know how to use the terrain to their advantage if they want to approach, it's kind of hard to do from the left-hand side, from team
Now,
two
to
side.
be fair, to be fair there. Our EU Team 1 for Antarctic Scorpions, now we just faced 9th STS.
Yeah.
And on this particular drop, we did take it quite convincingly. And what we did was a range drop from the left side of the map. And what we did was we headed to Kappa. And, we kind of controlled that area there. And then, we sent a mech to Gamma. And then they came at us. And we fought them over in, this area here. And, they had Overwatch mechs here, which I think was a mistake. So we all just cut and fought their brawlers here, and then fought their Overwatch here with a range deck, which it wasn't the best engagement from them. I think they could have done better. They normally probably would have done better, but that's kind of how I expect a range deck to work. Is you just kind of work this area as quickly as possible here, and then they're sending at least some guys to Cap Epsilon by the time you get your guys to Kappa, and then you just have the majority of your firing line in Kappa, and then you could send your mediums to Sigma, and then
if this helps you,
and you have more range in the water.
Night Scorn are set up in their lances.
More range in the water, so you can beat them back.
They have 4 mechs in Charlie Lance, 3 in Bravo, and 1 in Alpha. They have 1 mech set up in Alpha. You think that's a light or a medium, a fast medium getting ready to cap?
1 in Alpha?
Yep, they have 1 mech in Alpha. The rest are Bravo Charlie.
It's probably a Cicada, or maybe an Ice Ferret, or a Shadowcat, or something like that. And it's probably going to be a mech they're going to send for Theta, if I had to guess. Try to get that early. It's risky, but it can be done.
And it looks like MarineMechs are setting up all their mechs in Alpha and Bravo lances.
Oh, no. I'm so wrong. Again.
So both teams should be ready to start here pretty soon.
This is Alpha. 1 mech.
Say again?
This is Alpha?
Yep, Alpha 1 mech.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we did, I think. Actually,
if you ask Smurfy, all 3 spawns are Alpha. I don't know what Alpha is.
Oh, the Night Scorn are all green, so they're going with this drop. This is what they're going to do. This is how they're set up.
They set up in all 3 spawns. Okay, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, they're going to kind of do what we did from their spawn setup. Just kind of immediately send most of the guys to Gamma, send mediums to Sigma, and then 1 guy, really fast medium, goes to Theta. I don't think we actually ended up sending the guy to Theta, but, I mean, that can slow them down. If they're still all heading there from their spawns, that can be really bad if they can catch that guy out. But if he's really fast, he can get in.
Board is green. We're dropping.
All right. Let's see what happens.
All right, so here we go. MarineMechs side, Victor, obviously, we have Black Knight, Shadowhawk 2D2, Timberwolf C, Griffin 3M, Stormcrow D, Thunderbolt 5S, and another Black Knight. Just from that Griffin, I'm reading a little bit more of a brawl from them. It seems that NS did bring their Cicada, as predicted, and that gentleman's going to be heading towards Theta here. Try and take it. So the dropships have landed. Both teams are starting to move.
And it looks like that lone mech is going to cap Kappa. That was his sole purpose, is to get to Kappa and take it. Night Scorn are also moving to Sigma. Yep, they're taking Sigma. There's a, looks
Oh
like
no,
a
it
couple
is
mechs.
Kappa. Yeah, it is Kappa. My bad.
And
so they're going more
MarineMechs.
inland.
Yep,
than
MarineMechs are
Victory.
heading for Gamma and Epsilon. And they did not do a full cap on it. They just did a light cap.
So most of NS just kind of heading towards Theta right now. Have MarineMechs. They're starting to like head towards the water. They're probably going to go for Kappa. They most definitely have seen this light for now. Maybe they can catch him out.
And it looks
Or,
like
I
they've
say
caught.
light, but it's a cicada. I think he's going to get caught out. I think this is his death right here. He needs to
Let's see what
run
happens.
immediately back through the boat. And hope
He's
he
at
doesn't get
79%.
yanked here. I mean, Cicada's fast, but can outrun lasers. Their whole team has repositioned here, and NS is nowhere near being able to help. They can actually just grab Kappa while they're here. But NS do have the cap advantage right now if MM doesn't take Kappa. And looks like it may be a case of chasing the squirrel. I think the cicada chase is done. They need to realize that, and they need to start focusing on trying to engage the enemy, which seems to be about to happen here.
Yep, it looks like they're going to hit right there by the tower. Although, look, they're going different sides than what I expected. It looks like Scorn could catch that tail end of MarineMechs if they keep going, and they've stopped. Think they've got seismics. They're starting to get a little range.
Awkward circling around here from both teams. It seems like MarineMechs might come up behind NS here. They do have the information. NS turned around, formed the firing line.
And that cicada has an open left leg, so they just simply hit it.
Deadly right there.
Yep, we got lots of weapons fire.
61%. And the brawlers joined here, it seems. NS seems a little bit more range. They got more lasers. They're just kind of wanting to pull back and form a semicircle. This is a fairly open area, but there is that hill there that kind of covers MarineMechs' approach from the right.
It looks like MarineMechs have split just a little, and they have got a mech isolated. Poneface is actually getting behind them. They let him walk straight through them and got behind several mechs.
Gas Guzzler, 49%.
Bandit is down.
40%, but one down already for MarineMechs.
Poneface is down in the
Here we
Timberwolf.
go. This is where MarineMechs turns the fight. 3-2 in favor of MarineMechs. They need to keep their focus fire up here. Suddenly became a 4-4. Tommy Decay probably most injured. Actually, Conreg is in the Stormcrow. He goes down. Becomes a 4-3. Can MarineMechs close this?
And remember, we've got that Cicada 2B and Jamie for red. He is out there capping, but he has an open left leg. He has no armor on that leg left. So even if they do something here with taking these last couple mechs down, they've got to go out and cap. They've got to leg that Cicada to stop him. There we go.
Victor
We've got 3
down.
mechs left.
Two mechs on the side of NS. Downright finally goes down. 2 versus 1. Most certainly going to end up in MarineMechs' favor.
And MarineMechs have a Stormcrow and a Black Knight left.
4 cap.
Yep.
4 cap, actually. And he's on the other side of the map. He wasn't even fighting. So that Cicada might just do it.
Yep, during the brawl, he took off, and they told him to go cap. It looked like it looks like Scorn was willing to give up 1 mech to simply get out there and get the caps.
So can
and he's moving to Gamma.
This? They do have the advantage of having 1 more mech, but NS is quite far ahead on points.
Yep.
If that Cicada somehow runs into one of these 2 mechs, it could end up in their favor.
Like I said, his left leg is wide open. They simply got to hit that left leg, and they could leg him. That would make a big difference, but they've got to get to him first. Between a Black Knight and a Stormcrow D, neither one's fast enough to catch him.
Yeah, the Stormcrow is actually fairly fast though. So between it and the Black Knight, MarineMechs do have a chance here. It's just, can they neutralize these caps? Can they turn them around?
I'd be curious to
Kind of a
see
shame
where
they didn't
Jamie's
see
going.
Cicada break off there, but
I'm gonna follow him, see where he's going, because I'd be kind of interested to see if he's willing to come back and try to recap one of those spots.
I think he's going to have to. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Theta is going to be taken away by MarineMechs here in a second. Surely Epsilon or Gamma is next.
Yep, it looks like one mech is heading for Epsilon right now.
Like, he's going to have to do something. He can't just sit out in the water and hope for the best. It's just not going to be enough, I don't think.
I don't know. He's not heading back for anything. He's actually seems to be cornering himself.
I mean, could he be just maybe looking to shoot into Epsilon? Just, like, turn the corner. No, he's going away. I don't know. His whole team's probably... This is a stressful situation to be in, guys. If you're ever this guy in a comp match, you're the last one left, you have to make it work. The enemy is, that has an advantage over you. It's tough. But looks like he's going to run all the way around that mountain, and that's surely going to be MarineMechs' victory right there. Like, it's going to take him way too long to get back to any caps, I feel like.
I mean, he is heading off to the far corner. I mean, maybe he can go around and get back to Theta or Sigma, but we're at 459 to 630 caps. It's 4-1 right now, caps.
Yeah, so at this rate, MarineMechs will definitely take it. And I don't think there's a way, actually, NS can really catch it back up here, especially if MarineMechs sends their guy to Gamma, but they're not, so...
Let's see what happens here. He's just about to Theta right now. Jamie 4 Red and Cicada 2B is about to move on to Theta. The MarineMechs are actually in a position they could pounce on him.
I think even if he takes Theta is the point here. Like, it's not going to be enough. A 3-2, I think, will still end up in MarineMechs' favor.
MarineMechs are starting to converge.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight, for sure.
Here they come. They're closing.
So it's 661 to MarineMechs to 579. 579 to MarineMechs to 664 to NS. And the fight has started. And he's
down.
MarineMechs take it. Oh, thank goodness. Automatic cap finishing, program that they put in the game is working.
And let's go to the damage screen.
And we don't have to sit here. Toaster doing massive damage. Chucktacular as well in those Black Knights. But really high damage scores from a couple of these MarineMech pilots indicate that perhaps they weren't focusing super well on just CTs. Maybe taking off a lot of side torsos, which could have slowed down the fight a little bit. Honestly, it was MarineMechs' victory. They did a better job than NS. It was close. I think NS made some critical errors. They, first of all, their Cicada got caught out, right, and had to play KG. And then when the fight happened, they couldn't really commit him as well because he was already so damaged that he'd probably get legged and go down in no time at all. Outside of that, they just let themselves get into a position where MarineMechs only had 400 meters to close, and they had the more brawly deck, it seemed like. They did a really nice job turning around and blasting, I think it was Bandit and his Griffin when he was just kind of scouting them out. So good job to them on that, but it just wasn't enough in the end. And I think they still might have been able to take it with the caps if that Cicada had been more aggressive about, oh, okay, let's go take another cap point. I mean, if you're just sitting out in the water, you're not going to win anyway. Sure, if you try to maneuver around the enemy, cross them basically to get to a cap behind them, it's risky, but it's better than nothing.
Okay,
So any
I'm gonna
other
bring up the map here.
observations,
So,
Poop?
nope. Let me bring up the map so we can kind of see what's going on here. And the map is up. It's on. It's back on a
Actually,
different program, so your markings won't be seen, but the people can see your map. All right, guys, go ahead. Like I said, they can see the map, but
actually,
they can't actually. You can't edit it
actually,
yet.
what I'd like to talk in between real quick as well is what you just mentioned. The last patch brought us a couple of changes. We have a new game mode in Domination, which might become interesting for combat at one point. And they changed the mechanics of Conquest, which caused, I would say, kind of a cry out of the community. Fortunately, they changed stuff a bit around again. We had the situation when you dropped in Conquest, even if you have killed the whole enemy team, you had to wait until the Conquest points went all the way up to 750, which was kind of annoying, and I think nobody voted for Conquest anymore. Right now, PGA has changed that back to a situation where when you have the cap advantage in terms of you have enough caps and are far enough in front to win by caps, if the time would go on, they end the game and push the cap score up to 750, which me at least it feels like it's kind of okay. What do you think about the changes? Do you think it will encourage more people to go for caps in the games? Does it change how you play comp? And especially one little change which I haven't mentioned yet, when you shoot a mech that is capping for the next 5 seconds, this cap point is not going to progress in terms of capping. Do you think that is going to cause some changes in the comp games?
I think it already has. If you had seen a drop 5 for ASEU Team 1's match against 9th STS, they won it. And actually, one of the things they did is kind of weird because it's the heaviest drop, but they took like the fastest mix they could with like very long range weaponry and just try to cover caps all around Tourmaline. And it was kind of a weird strategy, and we weren't ready for it, and they managed to take out our lights and win. Now, part of the reason they were able to do that is because they delayed, particularly me, who was piloting an Oxide, on the cap by firing large lasers into it and stopping me from taking it until their lights could close in for the ambush. Unfortunately, the other light on my team wasn't quite in position to support me. But in any case, it clearly affected that game. It was clearly a strategy that they were using. Just slow it down, just prevent anyone from capping points that, maybe you can hide one light mech behind the point, but you should be able to shoot the point. And you can just keep striking it or whatever.
So it's a significant change, actually.
Yeah, and I think for the bug queue, the other change especially it makes a lot more sense. And now, it went from Conquest being the worst C-bill wise, because then you have to wait an extra 2-3 minutes sometimes for the cap game to finish, to it being the best because you get that C-bill bonus no matter what happens, really, as long as you're able to cap it out at the end.
All right, let's see how this is going to influence the next drop 4 on Polar Highlands, which quite often turns out to be a cap game in the comp matches we have seen in the last 2 weeks. Esrin, what do you expect from the teams here? I mean, you on this kind of map usually you see a lot of large builds, but there are different strategies. Do you go for fight and cap then? Do you send some of your lights to go cap right away? What would your plan be on a map like that?
So there's really 2 ways of going about it. You can try and get a slight cap lead and then form a firing line with a bunch of slow, long-range mechs, or you can pick up a bunch of fast mechs like XL Banshees, Fast Timbers, stuff like that, and do kind of a push into wherever the enemy is grouped up. It's really hard to say. Both have their merits, and they work just based on who's the better team, really. So either strategy can work.
You know these two teams much better than I do. What would you expect from them in terms of strategy?
It looks like Night Scorn is really good with the range deck, so I would expect them to take ER Larges and Gauss on this. MarineMechs, like I said, they normally go with more of a mid-range deck, but they're very good at adapting, so they could also take a long-range deck. They could continue with their mid-range deck, but have some speed to try and close the gap and get the better DPS in. So it really just depends on how well they're able to adapt to Night Scorn.
All right. If we have a quick look at the map, Night Scorn is going to spawn up here in the top, MarineMechs down here in the bottom. For this map, it doesn't really make a difference in which lands you spawn. Maybe a slight in terms of when the lights might head to the same cap point from both sides. I expect that the medium and heavies might each go over their respective cap points close to the spawn points, and the lights head off to cap points. Depending on the strategy, we might see that the teams send their two lights together to one cap point, or that they split up. For example, NS could send lights over to Kappa and Theta, while MarineMechs send a light each to FC and Theta. In my experience, a very, very crucial point in this drop, especially in drop 4 on Polar Highlands, is that you keep your lights alive. How would you do that, Ezrin?
The lights need to use cover a lot, basically. There's a lot of cover. Even though this seems like it's a very long-range map, there's lots of lanes for brawlers to get around the map very easily, as long as they stay away from like the H8 through I9 square right in the middle. So the lights, they can disengage very easily if they need to. And yeah, definitely keeping them alive is going to be the key if in this game if it comes to caps.
It seems like they're about to start here. Only one guy left to ready up on NS's side. MarineMechs and NS have both decided to start out with 4 guys in Alpha, 2 in Bravo, 2 in Charlie. So I expect somewhat mirrored strategies in the initial capping at the very least. We'll see, slight differences in their loadouts might dictate how the engagement goes. I'm really curious as to whether any one of these teams is taking more of those faster mediums to help out in any potential light fight or capping war. And what sort of assaults are they taking? Are they, going for faster ones so they can better rotate and win the capping war? Or are they just satisfied to send the hill, protect 2 caps, and have the lights mediums contest the third?
All right, and we're dropping. Now we'll get ready as the mechs get ready to drop in. So MarineMechs, we have Firestarter A, Grasshopper 5P, a Mauler X90, another Mauler X90, an Enforcer 4R, a Blackjack 1X, and a Timberwolf S, and an Oxide. For the Night Scorn, we have a Timberwolf
and for
Prime.
NS.
Yeah. Ballers as well, a Jenner Oxide, Jenner 2C.
Ballers.
And they brought that Cicada 2B again. Same pilot in the
They
same
like
mech.
that Cicada.